Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hollywood Actor's Guide to Surviving the Film and Television Industry. This is your host, Jennifer Lynn Warren, out here in Los Angeles. Hi everybody! So, when you are beginning to work on a character, how many of you out there raise your hands, start with your voice, and then build? Or start with a movement, and then build? How many of you just go to your text and you're like, how fast can I memorize this scene so that I can get this tape in and out of my life? I'm betting most of you do. I think that we, as actors, there are two ways to book a role. Occasionally you're going to be delivered an audition in which it is so very you, and in which case it's going to be your voice and your movements and the essence of you is going to book the role. And then there are times that the role is not going to feel right in your skin, and this is when the fun begins. This is the best auditions. Even if you know in your heart of hearts, like, no way I'm going to book this, they're going to book the person that can walk right into this character. This is the moment that you can think to yourself, well, let's say I did book this role. What do they sound like? Because they're different than you, right? What do they sound like? What do they walk like? What does chocolate taste like to them? You know, it's the time to really dig in and do that actor work. Even the roles that you feel you can just walk in on and just immediately begin to play. How many times are you like, well, maybe her register is a little bit lower than mine because she was in a household where she was brutalized and she was just used to keeping her voice low. Like, there's so many ways of playing with your voice and playing with your physicality to embody a character. And so many times you are just so focused on getting off book that you forget to create a character. So, character first, worry about the words later. I've been coaching a lot of actors recently, and the main difference I've noticed in those of you who sound like amateurs and those of you who sound professional many times is in what you are doing when you are not saying anything. And my more green actors are acting when they're not saying anything. Like, you're really, like, you want to show me that you're in the scene. And the more professional actors, the ones that have great resumes and they're just there for a polish, and they've been working for a while, they all do the same thing. When they're not acting, they're listening. They are listening. In fact, one could argue that they are never acting, they are just being. And I have mentioned several listening exercises to you in the past couple episodes, hundreds of episodes. I don't know. We've been doing this for 2 years, everyone. This would be our 2-year anniversary episode. In fact, I think maybe it was last week's episode was our anniversary episode. So, woohoo, 2 years on the podcast. But continuing. Oh my gosh, half the time of the podcast was during a pandemic. That's crazy. I just got sidetracked. I should be listening to myself, taking my own advice. I would like you to dig out some of your old self-tapes. We've all got them on our computers and things, don't we? They're around. And I want you to watch your performance. And instead of watching what you're doing when you're talking, I want you to watch what you're doing when you're not talking. In fact, mute the audition so you don't even hear it, and just watch what you're doing. Are you like really pushing, or are you just a living human being? Oh goodness. This is what you get when you eat toast before doing something on the mic. So the final part of this is don't eat toast before you go on the mic or anything that can get caught in your throat. But go back on those self-tapes and see if you feel like you're being authentic in those moments when your character is not talking, or even when your character is talking and watching it on mute. It can tell you a lot about where you are in your career and in your training, your talent, your everything. Do you ever wish that you had an acting community? People that were there for you anytime you needed an audition, or people you just wanted to run lines with, or gosh, you just want to jump on to a Zoom meeting and just talk to people about the business because you have questions about your resume or headshots or anything else in the business. We've got you guys. WeAudition.com. WeAudition.com. You can go on there 24/7 and you can run lines with actors from around the world. Around the world. Do you have an audition in which you need to have a British accent? Why don't you pick an actor who lives in London, who's native born, and they will help you with that accent? If you have, a Southern accent, you can pick someone in the United States if you are not here in the US. What if you have an audition for American Horror Story and you want to know what that casting room is like? Oh, go on We Audition, search for American Horror Story. I'll pop up. I can tell you what those audition rooms are like. And they're actually pretty cool and pretty chill. So nothing to worry about if you got those auditions. Just go in and play. So WeAudition.com. Go on there. Be a reader. Put your beacon on. Be a reader for others. Pick some people. Do some auditions. Practice. Hold your own acting class. You can hold your own acting class on WeAudition. Just assign yourself some material and jump on there and go. Go on there with promo code HAG25, HAG25, and you will get 25% off the membership, which is so cheap every month, guys. I think it's like $10 or something like that. And if you're a reader, easily work with one or two actors and they'll tip you and you've made your money back. But I think with the discount, it's like $7 and something. So HAG25, go and get it. And finally, a little quick soundbite. Some things to take off of your resume. If you have the word featured, take it off your resume. Even if you booked it through a casting director, it's a glorified extra role. It's not taken seriously. Take it off of your resume. And take your measurements off of your resume. Take your measurements off of your resume. If they want them, they can ask for them. Now, I know on Actors Access and such, you can put your measurements in. That's fine. That's for casting. Maybe they need someone. For instance, I am currently looking for men and women that are 6'5" and taller. So that's fun and that's very specific. And I don't think it's rude to look for tall actors when the role requires a really tall actor, right? And but when it comes to your resume, especially women putting their bust size on there, it is no longer 1980. We no longer have to put up with that kind of stuff. They can see you. They see what you look like, and they need to be casting you based on your talent and not on your waist size. So take it off. Let's normalize taking it off your resume. It takes up space anyway, and it's not necessary. So that's it. That's all I have for you this week. If you've got vaccinated, good job. We are pro-vaccine on this podcast, and if you don't like it, sorry. I want to get back to work without wearing a mask and shield. So break a leg out there, and remember, you are not alone.